Georgia fans don't want to hear this, but this season feels different. Not because Georgia can't win a championship, because if they don't, then for the first time in the Kirby Smart era, people are going to start asking questions that used to sound completely ridiculous. Questions about the coordinators, questions about recruiting development, questions about toughness, questions about identity, and eventually questions about Kirby Smart himself. That sounds extreme. But 4 years after Georgia reached the top of the college football pyramid, this program no longer feels inevitable. And if this season ends with another early playoff exit, another offense that disappears in big moments, or another defense that looks soft compared to the Georgia standard, then the excuse phase has to end. Georgia used to feel untouchable. There was a stretch where Georgia felt like the future of college football. Physical, violent on defense, efficient offensively, ruthless on the recruiting trail. You watched Georgia and felt like they were building something that could last decades. And honestly, after back-to-back national championships, it looked like Kirby Smart had officially built the modern Alabama. But fast forward to now, and the feeling is different. Georgia still recruits at a high level. Georgia still wins a lot of games. But the edge, the intimidation, that overwhelming championship aura, it's faded. Not disappeared completely, but faded enough that people around the country no longer automatically assume Georgia is the best team in football. And that matters because championship programs don't just win games, they control the sport psychologically. Georgia used to do that. And now they look more vulnerable every season. The offense has slipped, and that's the uncomfortable conversation Georgia fans keep trying to avoid. The offense has regressed. Not collapsed, but it has regressed. Every year it feels less explosive, less creative, less feared. Too many drives stall. Too many big games turn conservative. Too many moments feel predictable. And the scary part, Georgia has too much talent for that. At some point, recruiting rankings stop being an excuse. If you consistently sign elite offensive players, but the offense still lacks explosiveness, then eventually people start looking at the coaching philosophy. Modern college football rewards aggression. Look around the country. The elite teams attack vertically. They pressure defenses constantly. They dictate pace. Georgia sometimes feels like it's trying to win 21-17 in a sport that demands 38 points. And no, this doesn't mean abandoning physical football. It means evolving, because the teams winning championships now can punch you in the mouth and score instantly. And Georgia has to become that again. The defense no longer scares people. Now, this might be the biggest warning sign of all. Georgia defenses used to intimidate people before the game even started. Quarterbacks looked nervous. Offensive coordinators played scared. Now, teams believe they can attack Georgia. That psychological fear factor is fading. And for a Kirby Smart program, that's a massive issue. Georgia still has talent, still has NFL players, but the defense no longer consistently feels dominant. Not like the 2021 standard. Not like the defense people still associate with Georgia mentally. The tackling looks less violent. The pass rush feels inconsistent. The swagger feels reduced. And again, this is not about one bad game. This is about a trend line. Because if Georgia loses its defensive identity too, then what exactly separates Georgia from the rest of the playoff pack? Maybe it's time to spin like the big dogs. And here's another uncomfortable reality. College football has changed. Aggressive roster building matters now more than ever. The biggest programs are spending huge money to eliminate weaknesses instantly, and Georgia may have to fully embrace that world. Not halfway, fully.
Subscribe if you enjoy this.
If Georgia sees weaknesses at receiver, offensive line, pass rush, secondary, fix it aggressively. No more assuming culture alone solves everything. The sport is evolving too fast for stubbornness, and fans don't care about moral victories in roster management. They care about championships, and if Georgia wants to stay at the top, they may need to become more aggressive than they've ever been before.
This season feels different.
It feels different.
And this is why the season feels so important.
This season feels different. And this is why this season feels so important. Because the standard at Georgia changed the moment they won national championship. You don't get judged like everybody else anymore. You get judged about greatness. That's the price of becoming elite. And, fair or unfair, another season without winning the SEC, without making a serious playoff run, or without winning a playoff game, that changes the conversation around this program dramatically. Especially because the excuses are running out. Injuries happen everywhere. Roster turnover happens everywhere. Pressure exists everywhere. At Georgia, the expectation is championship. That is what Kirby Smart built. And if Georgia falls short again, then serious changes should absolutely be on the table. Coordinator changes, philosophy changes, aggression changes. Everything should be evaluated, because elite programs don't accept slow decline just because the decline still includes 10-win seasons. Georgia is still one of the biggest powers in college football. This isn't collapse, this isn't panic, but it is a crossroad because the next step matters. Georgia can either evolve, get nastier, get more aggressive, and reclaim that championship edge, or slowly become another program living off past glory while newer powers take over the sport. This season will tell us which direction Georgia's really headed. And if the results don't match the standard, then nobody, coordinators included, should be untouchable anymore. Not even Kirby Smart. And honestly, that's what makes this season one of the most important seasons for Georgia in years.